What is going on, everybody? Sam Dog, the infamous 253, now coming at you guys live with Dallas Stewart. Not really live, though, but I got Dallas on the other line. Dallas, say what's up.
What's up?
Yep, and now, usually we would be doing this on Tuesdays, but now we figure since now all the preseason stuff and all that stuff is over, now we figured we start early, and now we are getting in to the game picks. Game picks for week number 1. We already know how it's going to start. This time, I don't have one of those little paper schedule things because now that my friend of mine gave me last year's that had all the games on there for, even though, it wasn't accurate because times are due to change later in the season, if you remember that, when it comes close to the playoffs. You remember, Dallas?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So now we're downstairs over here on this desk with a computer, and we got the first game. First off, the kickoff game. Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. Packers coming off of back-to-back years of missing the playoffs. We all know what happened last year when in week 1 when the Packers played the Bears in Lambeau Field. Khalil Mack went off in that game, and Aaron Rodgers hurt his foot, and then we all know that Deshaun Kaiser had to take over for a bit, and Rodgers came back over and led the Packers to a comeback win on one leg in Lambeau Field. And Chicago Bears, we all know what happened. They had the Doink King, Cody Parkey, basically end their season by doinking it off the upright with the triple doink because one of the Eagles players got their hands on the ball and it doinked out and did so kind of a triple doink. And now obviously they got rid of Parkey right after that. So Chicago's got to be poised for something big this year. I still see that defense still being a threat, but they also added the addition of our former running back, Mike Davis, and since they traded Howard to the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's going to be Cohen and Mike Davis on the running back game and see if Khalil Mack can go back to where he left off to on that defense. So in this game, I'm taking the Chicago Bears. Dallas?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bears as well, the defending NFC North champions. Packers have just an absolutely nightmarish season last year. Nothing went their way, including the firing of Mike McCarthy. They just don't feel like to me to be contenders anymore, but I still want to count out Aaron Rodgers.
No one's counting out
I'm
Aaron
going
Rodgers.
to take the Bears at home.
Yeah, and like we said, week 1 is the hardest week to predict.
Especially with the rivalry game.
Oh yeah, Bears, Packers, but this time the season for them starts off in Chicago.
That's always a tough place to play.
Yep. And all right, up next we got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and 2 days ago, Arrowhead Addict, Chiefs versus Jaguars, Hurricane Dorian unlikely to move week 1 games, so at least that game still gets to go on as planned. Kansas City Chiefs was on the doorsteps of the Super Bowl with first-year starter Patrick Mahomes starting in his second year and finally getting his first year. Mahomes coming off of an MVP season. These teams played last year, and we all thought, it was Jacksonville going to continue where they left off from in 2017 when they were on the doorstep but not in the door again for the third time in their franchise history. And then Mahomes went into that game and carved up Jacksonville's defense. But this time, different story, Jacksonville. Blake Bortles is gone, no longer their quarterback. They signed Nick Foles for 4 years, $88 million. Let's see how he'll lead that Jacksonville offense. And let's see if... And, of course, Jacksonville also drafted Josh Allen from, I forgot what college he went to. Was it Kentucky? That pass rusher from Kentucky. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But, so another weapon on Jacksonville's defense. Kansas City, obviously the addition of us trading Frank Clark to the Chiefs. And then Dee Ford going to the San Francisco 49ers. And then Justin Houston departing to Indianapolis. So... lots of key losses on that defense, and then the key addition of Frank Clark, and who else would they add on eventually in the draft? We'll figure out the other names coming, and Tyreek Hill coming back on the offense. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a no-brainer. Chiefs are going to win big in this one, I think.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs are, I think they're going to prove to the NFL that they were oh so close to the Super Bowl last year, and I think they're going to prove that they're still Super Bowl contenders. We'll see how much better the defense is. That's going to be the key. I believe if the defense can perform and Mahomes can play like like he did last year, because we know the offense was there for them.
The offense was there. The
I
defense
believe
wasn't
they have
there.
a chance to get to the Super Bowl.
Well,
It all depends on their defense, and I think the addition of Frank Clark really helps them.
oh yeah,
But
no,
I'm taking the Chiefs. I believe the Nick Foles era in Jacksonville will start with a loss.
it probably will start with a loss. But yeah, that Chiefs defense last year wasn't really the best, man. Especially, I mean, you
In
saw,
that AFC Championship game.
and then against us on that Sunday night game when we clinched our playoff spot.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings for week 1. Atlanta Falcons season was obviously derailed by injuries to the defense, and Minnesota Vikings was in a lose-lose situation last year where it was technically a lose-lose. They were going to be eliminated from the playoffs anyway because the Philadelphia Eagles were playing the Washington Redskins on a backup quarterback since the Alex Smith injury, and then the Vikings were playing the Chicago Bears in the final week of the season, which the Bears were obviously trying to get the number 2 seed for if the Rams were to lose that last one, which obviously the Rams got the 2 seed. So Vikings were in a lose-lose situation. Atlanta season just derailed by injuries. This might be our first toss-up one, man. But you know what? I mean, maybe not quite a toss-up. I mean, Atlanta still got the offense. Julio Jones, they got Calvin Ridley, and then they got Devontae Freeman still, and
Coming back from injury, he was injured last year, wasn't he?
yeah, Freeman was injured, and then Tevin Coleman departed to San Francisco. So no more Coleman in Atlanta since he went to go join his old offensive coordinator in San Francisco. So I mean, in Minnesota, who knows how their defense is gonna be this year? What kind of season Kirk Cousins is gonna have? But in this one, I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons in Minnesota. I'm taking the Falcons.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Atlanta as well. I think they're going to have a lot to prove this year. This is a pretty big year for Dan Quinn. A lot of people say he's on the hot seat because ever since that Super Bowl collapse, they haven't really done anything. They did win that playoff game in L.A., but then they would lose, a close one to the Eagles. And then last year was just very, very... They had to be one of the most disappointing teams in the entire league last year, going 7-9. So I think they're going to be a lot better than people think, and I have them as a possible wild card team this year coming out of the NFC. So I'm going to go with the Falcons.
All right, so we got Atlanta over Minnesota. All right. Up next, we got the Tennessee Titan at the new-look Cleveland Browns. Big-time offseason for Cleveland. Acquiring Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield coming into year number 2, and then, of course, Odell's basically reunited with his old college teammate and going way back with Jarvis Landry. And then, of course, Cleveland drafting Greedy Williams late in the draft for their defense, and then the addition of Sheldon Richardson. Tennessee Titans, who knows what's going to happen. They added Ryan Tannehill to obviously to be the backup to Marcus Mariota. Mariota last year definitely did not have a good year last year. The Titans missed the playoffs, obviously. I mean, never really been paying too much attention to Tennessee, but I think, obviously, I'm going to say this, though. I mean, I think Cleveland starts out their new era with a win over the Titans at home. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I'm taking Cleveland as well. This is probably they are at home. A lot of can they live up to the hype? People actually expect wins this year. There's actually expectations in Cleveland for the first time in a long time, and who knows what Tennessee does? I guess the AFC South is wide open though right now.
Yeah, because of the Luck retirement that we were talking
But
about.
this also could be a make or break year for Marcus Mariota. He looked bad in one of the preseason games.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, if he doesn't perform well, he could easily get benched for Ryan Tannehill.
Yep, Ryan Tannehill coming in from Miami. And, of course, Cleveland with the big acquisitions we got. You know what? I think maybe Cleveland being good could be a good thing for the NFL for once, you know?
I think it could be, too. And Tennessee, they just narrowly missed the playoffs, probably because they didn't have Marcus Mariota for that final game at home against the Colts, which probably made the difference.
Big time difference indeed. So, yep.
Of why they were left out.
Yep. Cleveland Browns start out their new era 1-0. So there we go. All right. Up next, we got the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. And the New York Jets, they've had an interesting offseason, acquiring C.J. Mosley, the former linebacker of the Baltimore Ravens. Ty Montgomery and Le'Veon Bell in the backfield sounds like a two-headed monster waiting to happen for the Jets in that New Jack City, man. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see some of the new looks. Sam Darnold, he's been looking good in the preseason. Shout out to Gangrene David. If you haven't checked his channel out, make sure to go check out his Jets content. But Sam Darnold looks poised to have a big year. On the other hand, Buffalo Bills got Ed Oliver in the first round of the NFL draft. So who knows that pass rush? Who knows how different it'll be this year? I mean, I think Ed Oliver is a good addition for that Bills team. They got that one offensive lineman from Oklahoma late in the draft, and then they made the addition. They added the additions of Cole Beasley from the Cowboys and John Brown, the former Arizona Cardinal and former Baltimore Raven, to the receiving corps, getting Josh Allen some weapons. And Josh Allen, we know he's got that arm and he's got the legs to run too. So this looks to be a good rivalry battle in the AFC East. This might be one of those toss-up ones. Is this a toss-up one in your opinion, Dallas?
Yeah, this is very hard to pick.
Yeah.
It's in New York.
It's at MetLife Stadium, so the Jets are the home team.
I think the Jets are going to get their season's going to start with a win in their first game with Le'Veon Bell.
You think Le'Veon Bell and Ty Montgomery make the difference?
Yeah, I think they're going to start off a surprising 1-0. Remember last year they had that beatdown. They beat down the Lions in Detroit on that Monday night.
Yep, and then obviously
the season went south after that.
And then
it was the end of the Todd Bowles era.
Yep, and now we got freaking Adam Gase as the head coach of the Jets, and the Buffalo Bills. We already know they beat down the Jets in MetLife Stadium last year with the battle of backup quarterbacks, Matt Barkley versus Josh McCown, and then obviously we were live streaming the red zone, and the Jets game-winning touchdown was just a play before the Miami Miracle reaction. But yeah, I'm going to side with you on this one. I think the Jets at home with what they got going on this year. I mean, it's a toss-up, but I'm going to go with you.
It's a tough one to pick.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Jets in this one.
All right, so we both like the Jets.
Yeah, because of Le'Veon Bell and Ty Montgomery in the same backfield and the defensive additions.
I think they're probably a little bit better at quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Don't sleep on Josh Allen though. Don't sleep on Josh Allen because he's primed for something
no,
too.
He went into Minnesota last year and they beat down Minnesota.
Yeah, Josh Allen got off to a rusty start. All right, up next we got the Baltimore Ravens going to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins. As we all know, Miami just traded Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills to the Houston Texans, and Ryan Fitzpatrick was named the starting quarterback of the Dolphins, and now they got Brian Flores as their head coach. So a lot of changes with Miami. Miami even just traded Kiko Alonso to the New Orleans Saints. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, now full-time starter, and defensive addition of former Seahawk and Super Bowl 48 champion Earl Thomas to that Ravens secondary and defense, along with Jalen Ferguson of, Louisiana Tech, that pass rusher. And then, I mean, obviously they lost C.J. Mosley. This is an easy pick. I'm picking the Ravens. I'm picking the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I gotta go with the road team, the Ravens as well. The Dolphins made a lot of changes in the offseason. I think they could have a top 5 pick in the draft. I think they have a chance to be that bad this year. I really do. And the Ravens are coming off a division title. Maybe they're looking to prove some people wrong. Maybe they can still defend their AFC North title, and maybe they can actually win a playoff game. But that remains to be seen. But this is pretty obvious for me. Baltimore in week 1. But
remember, Cleveland's peaking too. But also, How long do you think it'll be until Dolphins fans are chanting, "We want Rosen"?
We'll find out.
Because remember,
Patrick's usually pretty good in the beginning of the year, and then he falls off.
That was proven last year in that Tampa New Orleans Week 1 game last year. All right, Ravens over the Dolphins. Up next, we got the Washington Redskins taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, and obviously Case Keenum was named the starter of the Redskins, and the Redskins drafted Dwayne Haskins, who looked pretty bad in the preseason, and now basically, Eagles practice squad includes Extons, Kyle Lauletta, and then Redskins signed Wendell Smallwood. So, I mean, Philadelphia Eagles, we all know what happened to them. They squeaked into the playoffs barely against the same Redskins team because they lost Alex Smith and their season went downhill. So, like we mentioned, the lose-lose situation for Minnesota, where basically they were screwed anyway. Philadelphia taking on the Redskins. Carson Wentz, can he stay healthy? Question marks around Carson Wentz. Can they stay healthy? And then that Eagles team was one of the teams that freaking Clowney did want to go to before, obviously, Houston traded them to us when we had that robbery trade with the Texans. And Philadelphia, we all know how good their defense is going to be. And the question mark to me is Carson Wentz. Can he stay healthy this year? Can he stay healthy? Because if he goes down, the Eagles are fucked. I'm taking the Eagles in this one, though, just because of how they're looking so far, how they're going to look this year, and the Redskins. I'm not really buying into the Redskins for this one, even with Case Keenum, and eventually if Dwayne Haskins gets ready to make a start this year. So I'm going with Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'll probably have to go with Philadelphia as well, because we like a lot of the road teams. Philadelphia, they did sneak into the playoffs, but they survived. They got kind of lucky with that missed field goal against the Bears, but they played the Saints down to the wire, and if Alshon Jeffrey could have caught that pass on third down, who knows? Maybe they could have got to the NFC Championship.
And remember, that was with Nick Foles, not Carson Wentz. Nick Foles.
They had Nick Foles, not Carson Wentz. The biggest question mark is Carson Wentz's health. Can he stay healthy? Because a lot of people say if he stays healthy that a lot of people have him as Super Bowl contenders this year.
Yeah, well, I will say this, though. If Carson Wentz gets hurt, Carson Wentz wears a ring because of Nick Foles. That's the only reason Carson Wentz has a ring, is Nick Foles. So, in a way, Wentz is trying to break out of Foles' shadow, and I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think Carson Wentz will get out of Nick Foles' shadow. No disrespect to my Philadelphia YouTube friends, though, like Philly Joel and Philly 500, but that's just the way I see it. Like Stephen A. Smith said, that Nick Foles is a bigger Philadelphia legend than Carson Wentz. So, but yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, he beat Tom Brady in a Super Bowl and put on a show.
Yep, and of course caught the Philly special.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for that. All right. Up next, we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton dealing with injuries, shoulder injury last year. Panthers lost their final.
Seven of their last 8. Something like that.
7 of their last 8, but of course the Saints already clinched everything in advance, so they decided to play Teddy Bridgewater, and the Panthers kicked the crap out of the Saints in that one, only because the Saints rested their starters. Los Angeles Rams, the horrendous Super Bowl performance. Obviously, it was close for a while, but you knew they were losing to Tom Brady because, Brady has just owned the Rams in this past decade whenever he's played them, I mean, starting with obviously, I know he lost to Kurt Warner when they were the St. Louis Rams, but ever since the Rams moved to Los Angeles and whenever they've had to play Tom Brady, Brady's just owned them. I mean, and a lot of changes with the Rams. Obviously, they lose Ndamukong Suh, and they had the additions of Clay Matthews, and then they also added Eric Weddle, the former Charger and former Baltimore Raven, and who else? And they drafted a couple of UW Huskies, one of them being Taylor Rapp. And Aqib Talib's getting old. We all know Talib's getting old in that secondary. We could see lots of changes to that secondary in Los Angeles where teams are just going to be able to bomb it all over them. But obviously, the big factor for their defense still is Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald, I'm not buying into Carolina. I think Cam Newton, with what he's dealing with, Cam Newton might be on a decline. I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams winning that one in Week 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got to go with the Rams. They got a lot to prove after that horrific offensive performance in the Super Bowl where they couldn't do anything, and their offense really carried them last year. they lost a couple people on defense. Yeah, but Carolina, I think they continue their spiral that they had at the end of last year. I don't even think Carolina will be a wild card team this year, and I wonder if there's some pressure on Ron Rivera
and Cam Newton.
They haven't really done much after that Super Bowl loss to Denver after the 2015 season.
Here's another interesting question. What's their kicker situation like since Graham Gano was placed on the injured reserve?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they have question marks at the kicker position. But unfortunately, I'm going to pick the Rams to start 1-0, even though we would like to see Carolina get a win.
Another question mark for the season, I would have to say, is Todd Gurley with the arthritis in his leg. Can he get back to his running level? Because, they weren't really using him a lot in the Super Bowl and using C.J. Anderson a lot.
I wonder if they'll show that game. It'll probably be an early game on Fox. I wonder if they'll show that game on Fox before the Seahawks-Bengals game. I wouldn't mind watching that game.
It says watch on Fox. I watch a little bit of Red Zone just until the Seahawks. Oh wait, that's right. I'm going to be in Seattle because the game's in Seattle. I'm going to be in Seattle for the Seahawks Bengals game, obviously. So I might see some of that on the screen at the stadium while I'm, pumping up the players.
I think Seahawks fans will be paying attention to how the Rams start off their year.
No doubt. I'm just glad.
Or anybody in our division, really.
I'm just glad we start out at home this year. All right, so we picked the Rams over the Carolina Panthers. Up next, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, the surprising, shocking Andrew Luck retirement. And another thing I heard was that the Colts were hosting Brian Hoyer, who the Patriots released. So who knows what are the Colts going to do at quarterback? Are they going to still start Jacoby Brissett? Are they going to bring in Brian Hoyer? Lots of question marks now. Obviously, we know they have a good defense with Darius Slay, and then they added some offensive line and got Luck the protection last year. And then obviously they got beat pretty good handily by Kansas City last year in the divisional round. Los Angeles Chargers, Derwin James out for most of the season with that foot injury. So Derwin James is going to miss most of the season. And who knows can the Chargers get back to where they left off? Because Phillip Rivers is coming off of a pretty hot year. But the only negative I also see with the Chargers is the Melvin Gordon holdout. And I think, Spanos needs to not be cheap because Melvin Gordon is worth the money. We know he had some injury, but when Gordon's healthy, Melvin Gordon was definitely worth the money. But will they possibly dealt Melvin Gordon elsewhere? But new look Colts. And not really so new look with the Chargers. I think Chargers are still one of the top dogs and possible contenders maybe to make the playoffs. But obviously still got to deal with Kansas City. But I'm taking the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 1, beating the Colts pretty good inside of Dignity Health Sports Park. I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers as well. This game might have been different if not for the Andrew Luck retirement. I probably would have picked the Colts. Boy, that really just changed the outlook of their season. They went from Super Bowl contenders to they might be in the running for the number 1 pick.
Tank for Tua or tank for Trevor Lawrence or tank for Justin Herbert.
For whoever's out there. But I'm gonna take the Chargers. They're not gonna lose to Jacoby Brissett at home.
Nah. You saw how they took on Lamar Jackson the first time in the regular season.
We saw what the Colts were a couple years ago with Jacoby Brissett, 2-14.
Yeah.
When Luck missed the whole year with a shoulder.
Yeah, but Jacoby Brissett did beat the 49ers, though.
Did he?
He did, on Peyton Manning weekend.
That's another thing you can rub into the 49ers fans, that they lost to Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, true that. All right. All right. Up next, our game. Bengals at Seahawks. We all know our story. Just acquired Jadeveon Clowney in that train robbery steal, trading. And I hate to say, I like Jacob Martin last year because he was showing some flashes for being special, So I'm gonna definitely miss Jacob Martin. I hope him for the best for him in Houston, and then of course Marquise Mingo traded over there too in the 3rd round pick. We just re-signed Geno, obviously cut him for a day, bring him back, because of the whole thing with the trade for Jadeveon Clowney, but. Cincinnati Bengals, man. New head coach, Zach Taylor, and obviously We know the story. AJ Green's gonna be miss some parts of the season, and we still got to take on John Ross. We got to take on Joe Mixon, Andy Dalton, and Tyler Eifert. I don't know if, I mean, what do you think? I mean, on this one, who else would you mention? Tyler Boyd, obviously.
Tyler Boyd, that's about it. Really a new look Cincinnati Bengals. The Marvin Lewis era is mercifully over. I know a lot of Bengals fans probably rejoiced.
They probably did.
I guess him and the organization decided to part ways.
And this is obviously part one of the Jaron Reed suspension for us, but I'm liking the way we're looking. But can DK Metcalf come in and start out hot for us on the offense? Obviously, Gary Jennings. I am still upset about, us letting go of Jerron Brown. I mean, I thought Brown was doing really good in the preseason, and then, of course, Jazz Ferguson just got added to our practice squad. I mean, Malik Turner, can he do something for us, man? I mean, I kind of was hoping, Jazz Ferguson, at least, I think I would have taken Jazz Ferguson over Malik, but we'll see what happens, though. But finally, a home game. I will be at this game, by the way, guys, so I will try to do some videos and get some plays, but I'm taking the Seahawks over the Bengals at home. Week 1 at home. The 12s are gonna show. I'm taking the Seahawks.
Yeah, the spread is they're favored by about 9.5 in this game. That's got to be the biggest spread of Week 1. I don't see a way where Cincinnati comes in here and beats us. I think the crowd's gonna be way too fired up.
Especially wanting revenge from 2015 too, which I definitely want that revenge.
Oh yeah, when we blew that 17-point fourth quarter lead on the road.
And then lost in overtime. But yeah.
We finally have a chance to start off 1-0. The last 2 years we started the season on the road.
Yeah. All right.
It's finally nice that we start at home.
Hell yeah. All right. Seahawks beat Cincinnati at home in CenturyLink Field. We'll be at that game, so stay tuned for that. Up next, we got the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Zeke and the Cowboys may be trying to hammer out this contract before Week 1. We all know the story. And then, of course, freaking Dak Prescott turning down $30 million, saying he wants $40 million. A lot of stuff going on with the Cowboys. The Cowboys did just acquire Randall Cobb from the Green Bay Packers in the free agency. And then New York Giants, we all know the storyline. They drafted Daniel Jones in the first round of the draft. Traded Odell Beckham Jr. to the Cleveland Browns along with Olivier Vernon. Or correct me if I'm wrong, if that was who on the offensive line who they traded to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, who knows what's going to happen though with this one though too? And when are the Giants fans obviously going to be chanting for? Eli Manning's obviously the starter, and he looked pretty decent in the preseason though. But that's just preseason. Had an offensive line and plenty of time to throw. Who knows what Saquon Barkley's going to do in year number 2? But obviously, this is kind of an obvious choice with that one. I got to pick the Dallas Cowboys at home in Dallas beating the Giants. I think the Giants start out 0-1 in this one. I mean, a lot of different things going on with both these teams, and who knows how long it'll be until maybe the Giants fans start chanting, "We want Daniel Jones," and who's looked pretty good in that preseason. So, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
You and me both.
Because I think the Giants are in for another long year. They might actually be the worst team. They might actually be the worst team in the league, especially after trading Odell Beckham.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a make or break year for Jason Garrett. He's in this last year of his contract. There'll be a lot of heat under him, especially if they lose this game to a bad Giants team. But if they don't make the playoffs this year, I think Jerry Jones is finally gonna
let go of Garrett. Yeah, remember, there's a couple of new things going on here. Dave Gettleman, you saw what Gettleman did, the GM did to the Giants with this offseason. Remember the controversy thing where he said, we didn't sign Odell to trade him, and then he trades him to Cleveland, things got to happen. And obviously, even Giants fans at one point were saying, since the Andrew Luck retirement, there were some rumors about possible an Eli Manning trade to the Colts, and then there are the Giants fans I know of that saying they need Eli Manning to be able to help in the mentorship of Daniel Jones. Two-time Super Bowl winner to be a mentor for Daniel Jones. So, but I don't think the Giants will get rid of Eli because they want to be sure that he mentors up Daniel Jones for when Jones is ready to take over the starting quarterback position for the New York Giants. So there's that. I mean, I've listened. It's kind of an interesting story. It's an interesting story, especially hearing it from my friend, the Entertainer Talking Sport, and Mr. Bad Dog 7676. I mean, shout out to those guys too. Got to show them some love over there in New York, but unfortunately, and of course, Kid Blue RB27. Shout out to him. He lives down in Florida. He's another Giants fan. Check him out too. But obviously, we got to pick the Cowboys because we figure they're more favorite right now in this. You still there, Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Who do we got next? All right. Up next, we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Garoppolo coming back from the injury. Had one horrendous preseason game where he went 1 for 6 for 0 yards and an interception. And then lots of craziness going on. They can't even freaking keep Jerick McKinnon injured. I mean, healthy. McKinnon's on the IR, obviously, too. And Tampa Bay, we know Bruce Arians, new era Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Bruce Arians as the head coach. Let's see what Arians can do with that defense. He just got, and also Arians brought back Todd Bowles to be a part of that coaching staff for his defense, like he had him in freaking Arizona before Bowles became head coach of the New York Jets. 49ers obviously acquiring Nick Bosa in the draft, trading for Dee Ford, and Shanahan said Dee Ford has a fresh legs and looked great in his return to practice. But 49er fans, they're talking, but they haven't really been able to walk the walk on their talk though too. And Tampa Bay, they're a question mark in this one though too. But it's gonna depend, I think Jameis Winston's on the hot seat though this year for Tampa Bay. But who knows? Let's see what an old Ndamukong Suh can do on Tampa's defense on this one. I'm gonna pick, and the game's in Tampa though, but I'm going to actually have to pick the 49ers in this one, though, too, just because of, Jimmy Garoppolo. But if they lose again to Jameis Winston, I'm going to laugh my ass off.
Yeah, I'm going to probably pick San Francisco, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay wins. I think San Francisco's on a lot of pressure this year. A lot of people expect it to be a 3-team race in the NFC West, but I only see it as a 2-team race. Yeah,
between us and the Rams. And I don't care what that one dude said. I think we got a better, as of yesterday, we officially have a better front seven on our defense than the 49ers by far.
I want to sweep San Francisco.
I want
to beat Jimmy Garoppolo twice.
Hey, who knows? Let's see if Jimmy Garoppolo can even stay healthy long enough to even last, unless, depending on how bad. Shout out to Anish Kumar for saying this. Don't be surprised if Garoppolo, if he starts throwing interceptions, then the 49ers fans start calling for Nick Mullins to take over. Imagine that. All right, but we got Frisco. We're gonna give Frisco a win here, just because we're feeling a little nice at the 49er fan base. Yep. So we'll give them that win over Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay still has a lot of question marks with their coaching staff, but also the quarterback situation.
But if they beat,
San Francisco's probably a little bit better with the quarterback situation right now.
Yeah, because of Jimmy Garoppolo, pending he stays healthy. But who knows if Ndamukong Suh plans on eating them for breakfast and lunch and dinner. All right, up next we got the Detroit Lions at the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, we all know the story. Kyler Murray being the number 1 pick in the draft, and obviously will be the starting quarterback. Larry Fitzgerald still playing. Who knows? I mean, TPS said that they were expecting him to not do well this year as one of the players that they think that will suck this season. But, I still wouldn't sleep on freaking Larry Fitzgerald. Detroit Lions, obviously, Matt Patricia in year 2 as a coach acquired Danny Amendola. They just acquired J.D. McKissick since we released him. And Matt Stafford, what kind of year can he have this year with Detroit still under Matt Patricia? What are your thoughts on this one?
I'll probably have to pick Detroit on the road.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because Detroit has the experienced quarterback.
They have a little bit more experienced quarterback. I think they could be one of the worst teams in the league this year too.
Detroit.
Yeah.
So Detroit and Arizona is the.
I don't know how much better really is Arizona going to be this year.
That's my question mark. Can Kyler Murray live up to the hype of being the number 1 pick in the draft? And then, of course,
and they also have a very questionable hire in Cliff Kingsbury. The guy gets fired from Texas Tech.
Very questionable
They
hire.
bring in a college coach.
Yeah, who went sub 500 and got fired. That's one thing I've never seen before in the NFL. And then also, obviously, the Cardinals did just pick up Cassius Marsh, who we just
Did
kicked.
they?
Yep, who we kicked to the curb in the Jadeveon Clowney trade.
Yeah, I bet. I'm gonna pick Detroit, even though I don't think they're gonna be very good this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Detroit too.
Neither do I. But I don't think Arizona's gonna be very good this year. I think the three worst teams are probably gonna be Arizona, Detroit, and the Giants.
Who's
maybe
that?
Maybe throw Miami in there as well.
Yeah, but who was that cornerback that did really good with the Lions in their secondary?
The corner?
Yeah, one of the corners.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think Danny Amendola is going to help their receiving core because they lost.
Yeah, drop the name of that cornerback. Or that
Because they lost.
Hold on, Dallas.
Because they lost they lost him a few years ago, but they lost. Who was the receiver they lost? Oh, Jermaine Kearse broke his leg in the preseason and he's out for the year.
Yeah.
So I do think he's going to help their receiving core.
Amendola, another former Patriot, joining Matt Patricia. But also, drop the name of that player that I can't think of his name for Detroit in the comments.
I can't think of his name either.
But yeah, Danny Amendola should have an impact. And then, of course, they got
so
that.
We're going to say the Kyler Murray era starts off 0-1.
Yeah, Kyler Murray era starts off 0-1. And then, of course, they acquired another Patriot defensive player, I think, too. Was it Trey Flowers? That defensive tackle from the Patriots that they got in Detroit as well?
It might have been.
Yeah. All right. Detroit wins in Arizona week 1. Arizona will start out 0-1. All right. Up next, we got Sunday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers at the defending Super Bowl champion Patriots. Different year in Pittsburgh. No more Le'Veon Bell. Traded AB to Oakland. And then New England Patriots, the Rob Gronkowski era is officially over since Rob Gronkowski retired. And then obviously they did draft Jarrett Stidham, who was just named the backup to Tom Brady. But do you think Stidham could possibly be the heir when Brady retires?
Maybe.
Yeah. And the Patriots did just release Demaryius Thomas. But Josh Gordon on that receiving core, Julian Edelman, that's going to be a good duo receiving threat. I mean, no one sleeps on the GOAT. No one sleeps on Tom Brady. No one sleeps on the GOAT. I got New England winning big on Sunday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, they had a really big collapse in the second half last year, and they fell apart a lot like Carolina. And there's a lot of question marks with Pittsburgh this year. How is their offense going to look without Bell or Brown? Can they even still compete in the AFC North? They got a lot of question marks that they got to answer.
Yeah.
But there's no way New England loses this game. I think New England wins by at least 3 scores.
Yeah, big time. At least 3 scores. It's Tom Brady. It's Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
Plus, I think they're gonna get revenge on Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh actually beat them in Pittsburgh last year.
They did. That's true.
Brady's like 14-3 all time against Pittsburgh.
All right, so
That's a team he's absolutely owned in his career.
he's owned the Steelers throughout most of his career, and he's got 6 rings. Even obviously got the 6 rings, and we obviously will put the Patriots in obviously the Super Bowl contention again. Obviously, because it's them. All right, Monday night doubleheader. First off, Houston Texans at New Orleans Saints. Obviously, we know the story with the Texans acquiring Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills, giving Miami 2 first-round draft picks. And then, obviously, trading us Jadeveon Clowney for Jacob Martin, which I wish the best for him in Houston, along with Barkevious Mingo. And New Orleans Saints obviously just made a trade for Kiko Alonso. Saints fans, obviously, this game's in the Superdome, but Saints fans are still pissed about that no-call penalty, which got the rule change to being able to challenge pass interference. I mean, Drew Brees and the Saints. I'm not sleeping on New Orleans this year. The Saints got that thing last year in the NFC Championship's got to be the fire for their seasons. But I'm taking the Saints in a big win at the Superdome over the Texans to start the season off on Monday Night Football. I'm taking the Saints.
I gotta go with the Saints as well. year last year. They won the AFC South, but didn't show up against the Colts in the wildcard game and were bounced early. I don't think there's going to be 2 years in a row where the New Orleans loses their opener at home.
No.
They have a fire this year. This could be their last chance to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, Breeze is probably 40 by now.
He's 40.
This is it for them.
40 or 41.
I think this is their final year where they have a chance at the Super Bowl.
You think so?
And I wouldn't be surprised if they make it this year.
No.
Obviously, the NFC is a lot more wide open than the NFC or than the AFC. But this is they're going to have so much fire this year.
Yeah.
I think they're going to want to take it out on the league.
You think so?
Yeah, and then but maybe they could be looking forward to that Week 2 matchup. Maybe they come out a little sluggish because maybe they're looking forward to that Week 2 matchup at the Rams.
Probably.
They've had that game circled on the calendar.
Oh, yeah, big time. All right, so Saints over Texans. Last but not least, on the Monday night doubleheader, Denver Broncos at the Oakland Raiders. The start of the final ever season in the history of the Oakland Raiders before they make their move to Las Vegas. We all know the story in the headlines. The Antonio Brown trade, the addition of Tyrell Williams, and then Trent Brown to their offensive line. Raiders are trying to go for it. Derek Carr, John Gruden, obviously, I think Derek Carr is on the hot seat. And then a new era in Denver. Joe Flacco traded from Baltimore to Denver. The Joe Flacco era officially begins with the Broncos Raiders in Oakland. Can Joe Flacco, he looked pretty, who knows what's going to happen with that one, but with the Broncos and the Raiders, we all know the Raiders freaking just dominated them on Christmas Eve, where we thought was going to be their last ever game in Oakland, in case they were thinking about moving to Vegas early and playing the Sam Boyd Stadium while their new stadium's being built right behind Mandalay Bay. But the Raiders, there's a lot riding on this one, and also there may be a lot riding on Derek Carr too this year too. But I'm gonna take the Raiders in this one.
I gotta go with. Wait, is it in Oakland?
Game's in Oakland.
Yeah, I still gotta go with Denver. I think they have the edge at the quarterback position.
We have a split.
Yeah, we actually. That might be our first split.
Yeah, who takes that one?
We'll see how much better Joe Flacco really makes Denver, but I still don't think they're a contender in the AFC West.
Nah.
But their defense is not something to be
reckoned with. Von Miller, Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, we saw firsthand
Last year.
Last year in Week 1 when we lost to Denver in Denver.
Yeah.
But the advantage, Oakland does have it at home, and that's a rowdy crowd, especially for a Monday night doubleheader.
It is, and it's the last season in Oakland too. But
I just gotta pick Denver based on that they have a better quarterback
with Joe Flacco. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think this is a make or break year for Derek Carr.
It is a make or break year indeed, and that's basically it for our picks. So, in recap, we got I picked the Raiders, you picked the Broncos. We picked the Saints over the Texans. We picked the Patriots over the Steelers. We picked the Lions over the Cardinals. We picked the 49ers over the Buccaneers. We picked the Cowboys over the Giants. We picked the Seahawks beating Cincinnati. We picked the Chargers over the Colts. We picked the Rams over the Panthers. The Eagles over the Redskins. Ravens over the Dolphins. Jets over the Bills. Browns over the Titans. Falcons over the Vikings. Obviously, we said Browns over the Titans, just being sure we got back and didn't mix it up. Bears over the Packers, and Chiefs over the Jaguars, and that's the Week 1 game picks. Thank you for coming on and doing this with me, Dallas.
Yep, no problem. This season is finally upon us.
Yeah, also let me know your pick. Tell me what you guys pick for your Week 1 picks down in the comments below. Give me your thoughts, and
we don't know how these games are. We probably got a lot wrong last year in Week 1.
We did. But other than that, thank you guys for tuning in, and until the next one, I'll probably try to drop a preview video this week too. And me and Dallas are going to the Legends Cup. The Seattle Mist, the ladies football team, is in the championship game, so I might film a little bit of that before the home opener. So until then, me and Dallas are going to sign off here, and until the next one, if you ain't with it, you ain't infamous, and as always, go Seahawks.